Today on the Locked On Diamondbacks podcast, we are getting back to talking about the actual best team in baseball.
You are Locked On Diamondbacks, your daily Arizona Diamondbacks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up and welcome to the Locked On Diamondbacks podcast, the show where we talk nothing but the D-backs every single day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the number one sports podcast network. I'm your lifelong D-backs fan and overly obsessed host, Daynen Biggs. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. It's the last call for football on FanDuel. If you're a new customer, bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if you win. That's a whole thing that we could talk about, but we're not a football podcast. We're a baseball podcast, the Diamondbacks podcast. So today we're actually going to be talking about some pretty wild speculation. Is this going to happen? Probably not, but could. And it would be really interesting. And that is Max Scherzer signing with the Diamondbacks. We're also talking about who else we need to sign to fill out the remainder of our lineup. And then finally, we're going to take a look at our prospects, and we're going to look at who we can expect to see in the coming year or coming years, and our general outlook on those. So let's go ahead and get on to it. Max Scherzer, arguably one of the best pitchers in recent baseball history. You may have forgotten, I often forget, that he was originally an Arizona Diamondback. We drafted him, we brought him up to the majors, and he had his debut here in Arizona. There's actually this funny clip online that you hopefully you've seen. It's very funny, where the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers are about to play each other, and there was the pitching matchup was going to be Randy Johnson versus Greg Maddux, two heavyweights. They were 44 and 42 years old each. They were towards the end of their careers, and but everybody was excited to see this pitching matchup. But instead, all fans were super disappointed to find out that they would not be pitching, but instead a couple of young bucks that nobody's ever heard of would be pitching, and that was Max Scherzer for the Diamondbacks and Clayton Kershaw for the Dodgers. So very funny stuff. But anyway, so Max Scherzer was from here, and it's something that has been well documented that we shouldn't have gotten rid of Max Scherzer, that was a bad move on our part. We have a good deal of those, but also we've been on the receiving end of a lot of good deals like that. Ketel Marte, Zach Gallen, things where it was like, the team that traded him away definitely shouldn't have done that, but we benefited. So that's baseball for you. But anyway, he is a free agent, and there are some whisperings, there's some rumors that he could potentially be coming back to Arizona. Now, according to yardbreaker.com, author Jacob Mounts, he says 3 teams that should take a chance on Max Scherzer. Now, Max Scherzer is going into his age 42 season. He's definitely past his prime. Don't get me wrong, but this last season, I mean, his numbers, if you look at it, this last season is very inflated because he pitched very few innings, which that's another cause for concern is injury. But it doesn't paint a very accurate picture of his skill level yet. And his time in the postseason was phenomenal. It was just like it always was. So Max Scherzer still could definitely be a very good asset to the team. Anyway, the 3 teams that he lists are the New York Yankees, the Detroit Tigers, and the Arizona Diamondbacks, saying, why not go back to where it all started? Scherzer's career began with Arizona in 2008. Now the Diamondbacks rotation is in disrepair. Last season, their only starter with more than 65 innings pitched and an ERA lower than 4.83 was Ryan Nelson. The D-backs did already make an improvement, bringing back Merrill Kelly, but with ace Corbin Burns missing time after undergoing Tommy John surgery and uncertainty surrounding Zach Gallen, who is still on the market. Signing Scherzer would make a solid contingency plan. As of right now, SpotTrack.com estimates that Max Scherzer would be worth about $9 million a year, which is, I'd say, in our budget range. Now, is this a great idea? I don't know. Well, let's go ahead and take a little bit of a closer look at Max Scherzer here. So this last season, playing for Toronto, he pitched a total of 17 games, which is not very many, and in those 17 games, he is 5 for 5, has a .2 WAR. It's still, I guess, positive WAR, I guess, but had a 5.19 ERA. He had an 8.7 strikeout per 9, which isn't bad, and a 2.4 walks per 9, which also isn't too bad. And he had a whip of 1.294, which isn't great, but not terrible, I suppose. Now he's not too far removed from having, an incredible year. 2022, he had a 2.29 ERA in only 23 appearances, but not too shabby either. 3.77 ERA in 2023 with two different teams. Texas in 2024, he was a 3.95. So kind of getting worse, but he only pitched 9 games in 2024 as well. But let's look at the postseason, because he pitched in the postseason. I don't know if you guys remember that, but this last postseason, he threw a 3.18 ERA. Well, let's see. This isn't a very good way to do it. He pitched 1 game in the ALCS and won it, giving up 2 runs in 5 innings, 5 2/3 innings. And then in the World Series, he pitched 8.2 innings and gave up 4 runs, but if you were watching that, he looked pretty darn good for the time that he was out there. Not spectacular, not exactly peak Max Scherzer, don't get me wrong. But the question is would this be a good idea? I personally think it would be pretty fun. It would be pretty wild. I don't think we should do it, and I don't think there's really much of a chance of that happening. Max Scherzer has said that he's going to bide his time on signing a contract till he gets one that he likes, and has even said that he may not sign until after opening day. Like, he's not in a rush to sign any contract. So, and I don't know that the Diamondbacks are really like the team he's hoping to go to. I think he's wanting to win a World Series, So, which the Diamondbacks are going to win the World Series this year, but obviously not everybody knows that. So, so I imagine he'd want to get re-signed by Toronto or, sorry, it's early, or any other team that he deems to be in contention. So, but we'll see, won't we? Not that we'll see if he's going to sign here. Don't hold your breath. I don't think that's going to happen. But anyway, who else do we sign though? Because we don't have a ton of time left, and we don't have a ton of options left either. And we still have quite a few holes that need to be filled. It's the last call for football on FanDuel. One final Sunday, one last kickoff. The final chance to get in on the action before the NFL season officially comes to a close. This is Super Bowl 60, and FanDuel is making sure you're right in the middle of it with a special offer just in time for the biggest game of the year. Whether you're backing the favorite, riding with the underdog, or building one last same-game parlay, this is the game everyone's been waiting for. This is where predictions turn into plays, stats turn into storylines, and every snap feels bigger. It's the perfect way to cap off the season and make the Super Bowl feel even more exciting from kickoff to the final whistle. If you're a new customer, bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if you win. Make it count, because after the Super Bowl, the season is over. Last call for football on FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 60. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. And we're back, and I want to say, as always, thank you so much for making Locked On Diamondbacks your first listen of the day. We are going to be posting daily once again now that we are getting closer to spring training. So be sure to tune in every Monday through Friday, and we're hopefully posted nice and early in the morning for you so that you can listen to us on your way to work or watch us while you're trying to not look too distracted at work. Let me know, by the way, where you guys watch or listen. I'm very curious. I know my dad watches. He doesn't watch. He listens to the episode when he's driving to work, but the video is up. He's not watching it, though. That would be irresponsible. He's just doing it so I can get the YouTube view. He's very supportive. Thanks, Dad. But let me know where you guys watch or listen, because yeah, I'm very curious. Also, by the way, thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. And also, another big thing, in case you haven't already heard, we do have a new exciting thing going on. If you haven't already heard, go check out the new Everydayer Club. So this is Locked On podcasts, all encompassing all the podcasts. But if you go and subscribe at LockedOnDiamondbacks.supercast.com, then you will get access to ad-free audio feed for Locked On Diamondbacks, and that's compatible with Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and every other major podcast app. And that also gives you an invite to the members-only Locked On Everydayer Club Discord server. I love the Discord server. It's so much fun. You get so close and personal with both myself and other fans of the Diamondbacks and other fans of baseball and sports in general. It's a great time. And that includes, as I mentioned, a group chat that's just for listeners of this show. So pretty exciting. So once again, go to LockedOnDiamondbacks.supercast.com or tap the link in the show notes to learn more. So who else do we need to sign? Because we need to sign some more people. We're not quite fully there yet. Now, one thing that Mike Hazen has done in the past, and I think this is a good strategy for a team that doesn't have tons and tons of money, is as we get closer to spring training and as we move through spring training, there are a lot of players that don't have a team yet. They're not assigned a team, but they still have juice in them. They still have talent. They still have abilities, but they're not I don't want to say not good enough, but they're just not on the radar. Maybe they don't have as good at agents or whatever. But there's a lot of baseball players out there that don't have a team yet and will sign with a team for a minor league contract to get an invite to spring training. There they can show off their stuff and see if they fit in with the organization. So one way or another, the Diamondbacks are going to find players to fill all these holes. The question is, how good are they going to be? Are they going to be players like with a proven track record? Are they going to be players who are maybe on they have something to prove? Are they going to be players that surprise, hidden gems that nobody really saw coming? That happens fairly frequently, so that's very possible. Or is it just going to be the best of the last picks, I guess you could say. I'm allowed to say that because I was always the last one picked whenever sports was involved. So that's okay. I'm allowed to say that. So where do we stand right now with our lineup? Well, right now, catcher is a lock. We have 3 catchers. We have Gabby Moreno as our number 1. We have James McCann as our backup catcher. Also that veteran presence, very important. And we have Adrian Del Castillo, who is hopefully going to be our permanent backup catcher behind Gabby Moreno after this season. But for now, he's likely going to be doing a lot of DHing and a bit of catching, but mostly probably DH work this season. Second base, third base, and shortstop, middle infield, and third base, they're pretty much a lock as well, with Nolan Arenado signed and officially on the team. He's going to be playing the majority of third base. Jordan Lawler and Blaze Alexander will play a bit as well, I believe. I don't think Arenado is going to play 162 games this season, but he will play the majority. I'm almost certain. And then shortstop and second base, obviously, we have Yeraldo Perdomo we have Ketel Marte. They're going to be playing those roles the majority of the time, but we also have other players like we have Pavin Smith, we have Tim Tawa, we have Ildemaro Vargas, we have I have to go through now and look at everybody that we have. We have Blaze Alexander, who can play either of those positions. And Jordan Lawler can play either of those positions really as well. So we have a handful of players that can fill that need whenever we need it. So catcher, second, third, and short, pretty much good to go. Outfield, also with the Arenado signing, is pretty much set to go, because the thing we were lacking with the outfield was a right-handed batting outfielder, because we have a lot of lefties, but we need a right-handed batter that we can platoon when needed. And with Nolan Arenado taking over third, Blaze Alexander, Jordan Lawler will likely mostly be seeing reps in the outfield, and both of them are right-handed batters. So we now have Lawler, Alexander joining Alek Thomas, Jorge Barosa, and Corbin Carroll. So outfield is looking pretty good. And let me make sure I'm not missing anybody else. And then obviously Lourdes Gurriel Jr., when he does return, he will take over in left field. Or honestly, actually, he may not take over in left field this season, but he is there as well eventually. So that leaves us with first base, starting pitchers, and relief pitchers. Now, starting pitchers, we do have a full rotation. We have Eduardo Rodriguez as our sole lefty. We have Merrill Kelly, Brandon Pfaadt, Michael Soroka, and Ryan Nelson. Ryan Nelson, Merrill Kelly, I feel pretty confident in. Eduardo Rodriguez, I'm optimistic, but I'm not confident, if that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. I think he could be, I think this could be a good, strong year for him, but just as likely it could just continue to be what it always has been. So I'm not super confident in E-Rod. Brandon Pfaadt, I think same boat. I think I am hopeful. I'm optimistic. I'm not super confident. And Michael Soroka, I think he's good, but it almost would feel better if he was in a long reliever position in the bullpen than in the rotation, because then I would feel much better knowing that our bullpen is in better hands. So with that, it's like, okay, well, if we get one more starting pitcher, that might be kind of nice. Now, Max Scherzer, we already talked about, could potentially be that person, but he's also very likely to be injured a good portion of the season. He has the last couple of years. We will be getting Corbin Burnes back halfway through the season, so that's going to help a ton. But we don't know how good he's going to be. We don't know how exactly when he's going to be back. So there is a little bit of there's still a little bit of gray area there. So the other one, though, and we talked about this yesterday, was Zach Gallen. His market was red hot going into the offseason, but it seems to have really cooled off significantly since, and it's kind of looking unlikely that he's going to get any big deals. And so apparently, according to some MLB insiders, the front runners to sign Zach Gallen are the Arizona Diamondbacks, likely to a short-term contract, because what he really needs is he needs a bounce back year. He needs something to show, oh, hey, look, I'm still really good, so sign me now, because his 2024, especially 2025, were not good seasons. So a short-term contract, maybe with an opt-out, like after 1 year or 2 years or something like that, would really benefit him, and we could probably get him for a fairly inexpensive amount if that was the contract details there. But right now, Spot Track estimates him to be at about $18 to $19 million per year. That's his worth. So he would be an expensive sign, but then our starting rotation has the much needed depth. Another one I included on here just because I see him and I'm like, he's not that expensive and he's not that bad either. And he's a left-handed pitcher. Patrick Corbin. I don't know. What do you think? Because he's a lefty. We need lefties. He'd only be like $5 $5.5 million for a year. He's 36 years old, so he's kind of on the older side, but he's not as old as Merrill Kelly. And let's actually look him up real quick. I did not look up his numbers this last season. Okay, well, this last season wasn't great, but he had an ERA of 4.4, which wouldn't make him the worst pitcher on our team, and pitched in 31 games. So, I mean, he could eat innings for sure. That is an improvement off of his 2024. So he's not exactly wonderful. His last really good season, I guess his best season was with the Diamondbacks in 2018, his all-star year. So, yeah, maybe that's why we don't sign him. But at the same time, I mean, you get him for cheap and could probably he'd eat innings and he'd put in some good work. Let me see how many innings he pitched. 155 innings. So not terrible. But there you go. I mean, sign Max Scherzer and Patrick Corbin. Just sign both of them. You do that for the price of Zach Gallen. So interesting idea. I don't know. And then in the bullpen, we have, right now in the bullpen, we have Andrew Saalfrank, Ryan Thompson, Brandon Garcia, Juan Murillo, Taylor Clark, the recent addition, Philip Abner, Kevin Ginkel, Christian Mena, and Andrew Hoffman. Andrew Hoffman, Philip Abner, Brandon Garcia have not had very much experience in the big leagues. That's three very green pitchers. Christian Mena didn't have much this last season either. Juan Murillo didn't have very much playing time this last season. So, never mind. No. Juan Murillo had plenty of time. Who was I thinking of? Was it Kevin Ginkel? No, that's not what I'm thinking of. Okay. I was thinking of somebody, but I don't know. Maybe they're not. Maybe. Oh, you know what? Probably was Gus Varland. That's who I was thinking of, I think. Who Gus Varland, by the way, was just claimed on waivers, I think, by the Nationals. So he is officially not a Diamondback anymore. He did not clear waivers. He was removed from the 40-man roster when we signed Taylor Clark. So, update. Anyway, another one on this list who could be included on this list is Dre Jameson, who almost certainly I think will be on this list. But that's still not wonder. I mean, we have Saalfrank, Thompson, who I feel good about. Juan Murillo, probably pretty good. Taylor Clark, I feel good about. Kevin Ginkel, I think could be okay. Christian Mena, I'm hoping he's as good as he was before he got hurt. But that still leaves Hoffman, Abner, Garcia, who are still pretty new, which we should be giving them reps and we should be giving them opportunities. But also, I think with those younger guys and even some of our guys who are coming off of injury, we need to be kind of rotating them in and out of that position so that they don't get injured again or don't get injured for the first time. And so we still need that depth. So a couple of names that just come to my mind. I've been saying since day one, we should sign Jose Leclerc. I think he's a perfectly good relief pitcher. He's got good stuff and he's got a ton of experience, which historically the Diamondbacks bullpen does really well when we have experienced relief pitchers who know how to run a game and know how to enter a game at any situation and put in a consistent results. And I think Leclerc kind of fills that role. Another two, Shelby Miller. Bring him back. He was great last year. He's still a free agent. And it's not like he's going to be very expensive. Another one, Daynen Biggs. I think he was fine. I think he'd probably be better than I don't want to throw anybody under the bus here because I know they're all listening, but like maybe Philip Abner, he's still pretty young, pretty new. I imagine he'd be at least more consistent than him to start. So I think adding those three, you could probably sign each of them for $1 million each. So for $3 million, you had three experienced bullpen arms to the bullpen depth. I think that would be massive. And then finally, we're going to look at the last spot that we need to fill, which is first base. And then we're going to also look at some prospects that we have to look forward to. So stay right there, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. So if we get our starting pitching and our relief pitching figured out, all good to go, then that leaves first base. Now, we don't have very much money left. I think we have like, what was it, 16 million left to spend or something like that. So if we were to sign Zach Gallen, that would be it. We wouldn't be able to afford anymore. If we sign Max Scherzer or Patrick Corbin, that would cut that in half, maybe a little more than half. If we were to sign these 3 relief pitchers, we'd still have plenty to work. So I think maybe go that route. But we'll see. There is also possibilities of trades and things like that. So there's still plenty of options, but at first base, currently we have Pavin Smith, who's our left-handed hitting utility guy, who's pretty much just first base by default. And then until Tyler Locklear comes back from injury, which he'll likely be out for the first little bit of 2026, Tim Tawa is our next first baseman. And so neither Pavin Smith or Tim Tawa, I feel like, are really real first basemen. They're just kind of there because they have to be. And they do the role plenty well, don't get me wrong, but then you have Tyler Locklear, who I think could develop into a pretty good player, but is still very undeveloped, if I'm going to put that nicely. So it would make sense for the Diamondbacks to sign one more offensive player, and that would be a first baseman. Now, I've been saying since the offseason wrapped up that Paul Goldschmidt should get an offer. Now, that would be great. We could afford him. It would be wonderful. It would be great to bring him back. It'd be good for the fan base. It'd be good for the team. It would be good for merch sales. It would be good experience to add to the infield. It would be great now that we have Nolan Arenado. Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado are like best friends. They played together on the Cardinals. They're very, they love each other, and having that dynamic on the team would, I think, be very beneficial. However, Paul Goldschmidt, if we signed him, it would probably be as a platoon guy with Pavin Smith. Pavin Smith is a left-handed batter. Paul Goldschmidt is a right-handed batter. Pavin Smith hits really well against right-handed pitchers. Paul Goldschmidt hits really well against left-handed pitchers. And then not so good vice versa. So if a right-handed pitcher is up, put in Pavin Smith. If a left-handed pitcher is up, put in Paul Goldschmidt. However, Paul Goldschmidt doesn't really want to be a platoon guy. He wants to be the main guy. And that's one of the reasons I think why he's not interested in returning to New York, is because they have a young, talented first baseman that they kind of ended up platooning him with. And yeah, I don't think that's what he's interested in at all, really. Plus, that means he wouldn't get paid as much, and he wants to get paid as much. So we'll see. I would be surprised if an offer hasn't already been extended or if conversations hadn't already happened. But we'll see what happens with Paul Goldschmidt. Maybe if he doesn't get a better offer, something that he likes more by the time spring training rolls around, maybe he goes, okay, yeah, I'll sign with Arizona. But we'll see. That's interesting. A couple other options. There's Rice Hoskins. There's Carlos Santana. A couple other like old kind of over the hill guys, but that could provide some, much needed experience to the team and hold their own at first base. So any of those guys could be really good as well. I'd still prefer Paul Goldschmidt. They'd all cost about the same. So obviously if I had to pick, but then we also have if we go to Reno, if we go to our AAA affiliate over in Reno, there is right-handed hitting Ivan Melendez. So we haven't really heard much about Ivan Melendez because he's not on our top 30 top prospect list, but he is the first baseman over on the Aces, and he was the first baseman also in AA for the Sod Poodles. He was a 2022 second-round draft pick, And in 2025, he was split between AA and AAA. And he actually had slightly better numbers in AAA than he did AA. And the Amarillo ballpark is a lot more hitter friendly than the Reno ballpark. I mean, Reno's very hitter friendly as well. Don't get me wrong. I think it's like Reno is ranked 19th most hitter friendly park in the minors, and then Amarillo is ranked number 1. So they're both very hitter friendly. Don't get me wrong, but still to downgrade and still be in a harder league and still be performing well, that's a good sign. He also has a good deal of power, and he puts up some good numbers. So, and he's a young guy, and yeah, it looks like he could very well be. I wouldn't be surprised if management is kind of thinking, okay, Melendez is going to be our long-term first baseman here in a year or two. But I wouldn't be surprised especially if it's between Pavin Smith and Tyler Locklear, if we do see a little bit of Ivan Melendez in the majors this year. So, but he's almost certainly going to get his start in AAA. We might see him in spring training. That would be kind of fun. But speaking of prospects, by the way, it's been reported. I thought this was a fake story at first because it was on one of those Facebook posts that seems, I mean, they're all AI these days and stuff anyway, or they're jokes, but apparently this is true, that a 17-year-old brother of Yeraldo Perdomo named Yeraldo Perdomo, it's just Yeraldo with a Y instead of a G, Yeraldo Perdomo, is looking to sign with the Diamondbacks here in the next week or two as part of the international draft or signing period. And so he's super young and apparently has enough talent to sign with a major league, team. So that's pretty big. Now, does that mean he's going to be sharing the field with his older brother? Likely no, but at the same time, Yeraldo Perdomo was not a top prospect by any means when he was signed, and really kind of burst onto the scene late in the game. And even when he made it to the majors, nobody was really thinking much of him until this last season. So hopefully it's genetic, and we'll see him skyrocket through the minors. And yeah, he's an outfielder as well, so they really could share the field. So that would be kind of fun. Yeraldo and Yeraldo. Exciting. Anyway, you guys, thank you so much for watching and for listening. Once again, we are returning to our daily upload schedule. So you can find us here on YouTube or on your podcast platform of choice. You can also find us on X, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Locked On Diamondbacks. If you want to see more of me, you can find more of my YouTube channels and projects at my website, slackshack.tv. Thank you for making Locked On Diamondbacks your first listen of every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks again, and I will see you tomorrow.